hand you over to Emma.
Before I start is always good. I'm not going to be talking about anything to do with WordPress because I wouldn't know anything. So, you know, but I'm hoping that I might get you to think about a few different things. Just so that I can know who I'm talking to here. How many of you run your own business? I should say show of hands. Quite a lot of people. Fabulous. How many of you have a job? How many of you sleep a lot? Okay, all of you. Yeah, right, okay, that's good. And if I asked you the question, just again, show of hands, how many of you like the idea of improvising? Show of hands, who likes the idea of it? Not bad, not bad. How many of you hate the idea of improvising, what that means? I'm loving the honesty. They're sort of like, maybe you don't, maybe I do like it, you know. Is it fair to say that whether you own your own business or whether you have a job, you are having to deliver your messages? Is that fair? You're having to talk to people, yeah? Okay, right. And so today, my little talk, and you're going to be doing stuff, is all about improvising. And I thought, well, I better just start with what actually is improvising. So it is to do something without preparing at first, often because the situation does not allow you to prepare. Is it fair to say that you've all had to go and give presentations and give talks, and then somebody throws you a question that you just hadn't prepared for? Has everyone had that? Can I see a show of hands? Yeah, this is, you can talk back to me. It's a kind of a chatty thing. It's how I do it, stuff, yeah? And is it fair to say that at those moments, improvising is what you're doing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, all good, yeah? And I'm just checking, I'm assuming that all of you do improvise every day because you'll have conversations that you haven't planned for, yeah? Yeah? So all of you that put your hands up who went, I can't improvise, I hate to say you can. And it's really good, right? But I think it's really important to say, improvising in my experience is a set of skills. And that's what I'm going to show you today. And actually what it is, and the real benefit of knowing and understanding improvising, is it will actually really help you deliver your knowledge and your expertise in an even more effective way. Because when we're under pressure, isn't it fair to say that sometimes that's when our knowledge doesn't come out quite so well? Is that fair? You know, if you've been in an interview and somebody asks you a question that you haven't quite prepped for, is that the time when you maybe hear your voice slightly change or something doesn't come out just quite as well? Is that fair? Yeah, I'm loving the fact we get quite a few yes. I'm not going to say yes out loud because then I would agree, right? So improvisation, as I said, will enhance your knowledge and your expertise. It really will. And there's a set of skills, and I've been lucky enough that I've run my own business for 10 years, helping people with how they deliver their messages. And my other hat is I also perform comedy improvising. So I have come from a very different world, but I'm in the business world, I work with lots of technical people, and it's all about how can I help someone like you deliver your message even more effectively than you already are. So, the skills of improvisation as I see them are these four. It's about being present in the moment, it's about listening, it's about responding without agenda, and it's about accepting offers. So I'm going to briefly tell you about what all of those mean, which you'll all understand, and then you're going to get to do something. Does that sound good? Yeah, I love that. I was here, I'm going to come drink beer and listen. I didn't know I was actually going to have to do something. So being present. Now the ability to be really completely in the moment and flexible enough to handle the unexpected. How many of you have found yourself sitting in a meeting room and your brain's gone, can I send that email? And then somebody asks you a question, you're like, oh, wasn't listening. Has everyone been in that situation? Yeah? And is it fair to say that sometimes if you're not fully present, are you really engaging that effectively with people? Now for me, if you can really master the skill of being fully present, the interactions that you can have in your business will go up. And those people that are really thinking about this are the people that are massively successful. Because you know how it feels when somebody really listens to you. Is that fair? And you want to be that person, whether you're running your own business, whether you're employed, you want to be that person. Which is that whole idea about listening. And this is hard. Seeking first to understand before being understood. How many of you, be honest, put your hand up, how many of you think you're really good listeners? I love that. There is literally...
Sorry, what was the question?
You see, I was hoping that someone would go, I didn't hear that. I didn't know how to deal with that. Yeah, so I had about 4 or 5 hands go up. How many of you find it hard to listen, you know, if you're at various different conventions and things like that, do you go off in your own head and you're thinking about it, yeah? Yeah, because we do, because we're human, yeah, and it's okay. But if you're having an interaction and you want to influence somebody or you want to engage them, you have to really listen, and that within itself is a skill. Responding without agenda. So this is really about taking in the information that someone really has given to you and then actually responding without an agenda. So as opposed to going into a meeting with your own head, going, right, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to win this business, da 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 da. If you go in and you really listen, the outcome will probably be that you will win the business. So it's about responding without your own agenda. This doesn't mean that you can't have your own agenda, because we have to, because we're human beings. But if you respond without your agenda, again, they feel like they're being listened to. Accepting offers. Who here has a yes and mentality? And who here has a yes but mentality? I like that. Who's got a yes but?
I always say but.
Yeah, so do people kind of, honestly, do you kind of go, yeah, but we can't do that, I haven't got enough money, time, resources? And if it's not you, do you recognise other people that have a yes but?
Yeah.
Yeah? And how do you feel when someone is a yes but person? This is that moment that people can talk to me. The what, sorry?
You don't feel good?
You don't feel good?
No.
No? Exactly. How else do you feel if someone has a yes but? Do you want to carry on giving ideas? You are?
I hate it.
You hate it because?
It puts a stop to things. It makes...
Yeah.
It feels more like a rejection rather than a yes.
Absolutely.
You might as well say no.
Yeah, it makes you think your idea isn't very good.
Yeah. And so then you'd like you to say it again?
Before the positive.
Exactly. And then if you're in that position, you know, are you actually going to stand up and actually keep coming up with brilliant ideas? No? So this yes and thing is a very important piece of improvising. So those are the 4 skills. That's all well and good. I could stand here and I could talk about improvising till the cows come home. But actually what's really important, hello! I love that. No one noticed. He's like, whatever you do, no one's seen me come in. It's fine. Nobody did, it's fine. I haven't pointed you out at all. But the key thing about improvising is actually the feeling that it all has. Because the way that you would be present, sir, would be different to the way that you would, would be different to the way that you would. Alright? So what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you just to put your feet firmly on the ground. So if you've got your legs crossed, uncross them, be so kind. That'd be splendid. Okay. And then I'd like you just to put your hand on your stomach. So just underneath your ribcage, this is your diaphragm. Okay? And then what I'd like you to do, you never thought you were going to be doing this here today, did you? What I'd like you to do, and you can choose to close your eyes or not close your eyes, I just want you just to take a few deep breaths into your stomach. Okay? That's all you do, just take a few deep breaths. However you're doing it is right. Okay. How do you feel?
Calm.
Calm. Relaxed. Anything else?
Great.
Did I get a great then? I love that. Yeah. I feel great. Now the reason I've asked you to do that, in terms of improvising, so if you're going into a meeting and you want to influence something, you know when you've been on your phone, you check your emails, and then you walk in, and then you've got all of your stuff going buzzing in your head? If you just took yourself here and took a couple of deep breaths, when you walk in, you are far more likely to be able to deliver your messages in a really effective and powerful way. Because we're human beings. Breathing, it's quite a simple thing, we can all do it quite well. Right, this one's a little bit of an odd one, so if you'd like to all just stand up, that'd be brilliant, because we've all been sitting down for a little bit too long, okay? Yes, love this, bringing the people that lecture halls is good. Right, now it's really important, just for a minute, just to allow yourself to slightly play, because were you all children at one point? Just checking? No, I love that, I've got one person back. Never a child, no. So on the count of 3, I want you just to go, I failed! Okay, so on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Right, okay, 90% of you did that really well. The 10% that didn't, you're going to, everyone else is going to have to do it again. Okay, so on the count of 3, I fail. 1, 2, 3. I fail! Amazing. Right, that is the worst thing that's ever going to happen to you for the rest of this 10 minutes I've got to talk to you. So you may now sit down. It's very good. You know, who knew this? Now, it's important because in the skills of improvising, sometimes things are going to go wrong. And I'm talking about it obviously in the context of business and a way of you delivering your knowledge. But it's just for now, it's okay if you fail something. So now, we're going to do something else. Now, in front of each and every single one of you, I've just placed a box. I love the fact that half of you are looking. I mean, I'm fast and a little short pixie, but I'm not a magician. Okay. So in front of you, I've placed a box. Okay. Now, do you all have a kitchen?
Some people have two, you know.
So I got two. The reason that I checked was one time I didn't check. There was somebody who went, "I'm actually living in a tent at the moment." I was like, "This is awkward." So I want you to picture in your head your kitchen, okay? And out of your box in front of you, you are going to start taking things out of your box that are in your kitchen, okay? So it might be fridge, freezer, apple, banana. But if you get to a place where you're like, I don't want you to go, I want you to go nothing, 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 until the next thing comes into your head, okay? Now remember, you've just all stood up in front of each other and gone, I fail! So it's okay however you want to do this. On the count of 3, we're going to take things out of your kitchen for about a minute. 1, 2, 3, go!
Coffee, tea, sugar, tea bags, mango chutney, herbs, cumin, coriander, turmeric, chili powder, soy sauce.
Excellent. And I love how everybody processes information different ways. You can see some people like, I'm just thinking it, and going round, then other people are sort of doing, there's no wrong or right way, okay? Now, again, box still in front of you. I now want you to picture your living space, your lounge, okay? So picture your living space, and on the count of 3, I want you to take things out and just go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Speakers, bookshelves,
Okay, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay, and the last thing that I want you to do with the box is this time, in front of your box and in your box is your very own planet. On the count of 3, go. 1, 2, 3.
my planet.
Your very own planet.
You can take things out of school.
Your own planet. Alright, okay. Interesting. Just out of curiosity, show of hands, who found the kitchen the easiest?
Yeah.
Excuse? Few people? Okay. Who found the lounge the easiest? Who found the planet the easiest? Ah, interesting. Why, again, there's no wrong or right. Why did you find the planet easiest? Madam over there with fluffy jumper. Put your hand up, didn't you?
Because you can think of anything.
Yeah. It's imagination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. And who found you found the lounge easiest, didn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you process? Were you going all the way around, or were you like logically going, there's my whatever, or were you just grabbing stuff?
Just grabbing stuff randomly.
Okay. And why was it easier in the kitchen?
Lounge.
Yeah. So why was
easier than the kitchen?
Yeah.
Spend more time in there.
Fair enough. I love that. That's my gas. That's where I sit. And in terms of how you processed, again, how present were you? So were you allowing yourself just to be, or were you giving yourself in that situation going, I don't know why I'm doing this is really silly, I don't actually know why I'm doing this, I'm not really doing it. What was going on for you in your own head? I don't need to know. Now sometimes with these instances, when we're doing these silly little exercises, it's actually a way of really just reflecting on how can you pull yourself into a room? How can you be fully focused on something? And the way that you each did it was each completely right for you. So I would just like you just to take that moment that you were just pulling stuff out and think about the last time you were in a meeting and somebody asked you a question that you weren't expecting, so you were improvising. What goes on for you at that time? What happens within your own head? And for each and every single one of you, it'll be different. For some of you, you'll go off and you'll think, some of you might doodle, but what happens to you when somebody throws a question that you haven't been expecting?
Slight panic sometimes.
Slight panic. And how do you know that how do you know that the panic's coming? How does it manifest in you?
Well, normally, if you know what you're saying, you're not short of the next sentence, right? But if someone asks you a question you're not sure of,
yeah,
then it's you go you're struggling to find the next set of words to say.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Yeah.
In that situation,
yep,
what I would do
yep,
is actually be honest and say, I'm not quite sure. I'll take a note, I'll think about it, I'll come back to you.
And that, in my mind, and my experience of working with people from board level and across the world, is the best and the most authentic piece, because you're improvising your truth. Now, as I said at the start of this, improvising isn't a substitute for all of your knowledge and your expertise, but there are those 4 skills that if you actually really master, your knowledge can come out in a better way. Now, of course, there are going to be certain times where someone throws a question and that's exactly the right answer. But I would suggest that's because you're fully present and you're really listening, and then you check in with yourself and you're like, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll come back to you. Which then stops, I think it's Keith, isn't it? Which then stops the fear piece, you know, because we're trying to mitigate it.
Graham. This is Graham. That's
Sorry,
Keith.
Graham. Apologies. You know. So one final little exercise that I'd like you to do. On each of your rows, as you now are on, yeah, I would like you just to do this very simple exercise. You are organising the next... Hello. Oh, you've got sandwiches. No, it's all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. But on your row that you're with, I'd like you just to go down, and you, each row individually, you are creating the summer party for this fab organisation. Okay. But the deal is, the first person who's going to start just says one sentence, and then the next person replies with a yes but. And we go down there, and we're just going to do it. But you're all going to do it at the same time, okay? So once you've done yes but, then we're going to come back and we're going to do another one, okay? So I'm going to count 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you're going to start, and you're going to start. But this time you're going to do yes and, okay? So yes and, same thing, summer party for this organisation. Give it a go. What was the difference in the second one to the first one in terms of how you felt? A lot more laughy, a lot more positive, enthusiasm, building on ideas, all of this stuff, yeah? We all knew that, but it's really important that you feel it. So I would suggest, if there's one thing that you take from this talk on improvising, if you tomorrow go into your place of work with a yes and attitude, I wonder what difference and what impact that will have to you, to your business, and to those other people around you, and potentially to your clients. Because I have found, working across so many sectors, that lots of people have a yes but mentality. And if you have that, you don't really listen, you go in with your own agenda, and therefore your relationships aren't as brilliant as they could be. Or your career doesn't go quite as quickly as you'd like it to do. So in summary, what I'd really suggest is take a moment before you walk into any pitch, any presentation, and breathe. And then go in every day with a yes and attitude. And if you do that, I reckon you'll be even more successful than you already are. That's me. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, thank you.
Very well.
We've got some time for some questions. Have we at all?
Hello. Work out my need for my voice to go. It's the other speaker.
With yes, but and yes, and.
Yeah.
Well, they're not effectively very different because yes, and you're potentially agreeing to something, and yes, but you're potentially shutting it down. So one is basically to say yes to an idea, and one is basically to say no to an idea. So in a way, are they not quite different?
I think
fundamentally.
Yeah, they are and they aren't, because the challenge of if you go in with a really truthful yes and, it doesn't necessarily mean that you agree. It's an intent.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if you have an intent of yes and, I can see how that could work. However, there are those challenges. You're not completely putting it down. Whereas yeah, but it's like, I haven't got enough money. Yeah. And push it down. Yeah. So that would be my experience.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think it's a really huge mentality shift. I'm Italian, and in Italy everything is a yes, but nothing is possible. You can't do anything. So it's absolutely impossible. So that's why I find that Britain is much more of a yes and place, and I love it much more. Australia, it's incredible. It's everything is yes and. So I think it's a huge difference in mentalities. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what it's about, it's just the way of thinking.
Well, it's a cultural thing, as you say. I mean, if you get, I was used to work with some American clients, and it's all like, yeah, we can do that, and yeah, we can do that, and it's like, wow. So I hear you, but it's, again, this is that moment of making a decision about yourself, because culturally we all have different values, we all have different backgrounds, but it's making that decision to be open to others and what they're saying. And if you take control of yourself and have a more yes and, then experience tells me that other people will do as well.
I've done a bit of work in the Far East, and generally, often to kind of speaking generalisations, but their mentality is yes and, to the point where projects have been on their arse and they've failed to kind of tell me because they want to please me and they want to say, yes and everything's fine, yes and anything you want. And I think there are times and places for yes but.
I concur to a point, because what I think that comes back to is actually the cultural and where people are coming from. So I think if you know that culturally in their value system they have a desire to please others and not perhaps say some more challenging points, then I think you have to be mindful that they have that yes and attitude, and therefore you go in with yes and, but also the yes and doesn't mean you can't challenge. And I appreciate that culturally sometimes that can be quite frustrating, because you then end up having to sort it out, right? But I guess overall, if they didn't have that attitude, they also wouldn't have lots of success. So I guess you've got to make the decision about which one is worth. But I do agree, at certain points there's got to be a yes but. Decision, individual decision.
I think it should be a no.
Yeah.
Just straight no.
Yes. Rather than a but.
It's not always that though, isn't it? Yes, but can just mean, I do agree with what you're saying, but we have to remember this, or we have to think about this. It's not always a bit of an end.
Very true. Thank you. Hello.
Just a quick compromise. Drop the word but. Out of your sentence.
Yeah. Just say yes.
And then just carry on saying what you would have said after the but.
I've never thought about it. I like it. You see, this is what I learn from every place I go and do this talk, because it's different ways of thinking. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. Yeah. This is about building on ideas in particular in sort of meetings and things like that. Madam,
can you tell us a joke?
Sorry?
Can you tell us a joke?
Can I tell you a joke? Absolutely not at all. For all my sins, I'm not a stand-up, I'm a comedy improviser, so I make stuff up and create songs off the top of my head and do things like that. But if somebody said, tell me a joke, it would be absolutely awful and not funny in any way, shape or form. So categorically not at all, I'm terribly sorry.
But you've just improvised yours.
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry? Yes, that's for a different audience at a different time. You know, it's not what Dan booked me to do. But you know, later on I might do one. Yes. Hello, my dear.
I just wondered if you have, in your time of giving advice to people, advised companies who are distributed. Because it's a very different type of meeting when you're doing Google Hangout or a Skype meeting. If you have any practical tips for things like that, just managing yourself in meetings where you don't actually have the advantage of body language and things like that.
Then the key part of that is obviously voice. And that breath bit that you just did, it's about being very aware about your breath, your own pauses, and the pace that you speak at. And also really allowing, and I think it's a brave facilitator of those type of chats that allow pauses. Because you can't see everybody, there's that, but they could just be thinking. So the way that you've got to do that is really about taking control of self and making sure that you're very grounded so that you can be the best of you. And vocally, if you haven't got an interesting voice, you know that they're just muted you. So it's about really becoming really aware about what your voice can do and then how the different tones can work. Help?
Yeah, that is helpful.
Good.
Okay, any more questions?
Stunned into silence, wanting beer.